fast just the same. Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Keep on shining your light, gonna make everything great, and mama gonna make everything alright. Here are chord charts which show the chords that are needed to play the song. Keep in mind that this song is performed in a double drop D tuning, so these chord shapes reflect that fact. There's an A minor 7th with a suspended 4th, a D, a G, what I'm calling a G minor 9th up on the 6th fret, an A, and a G with an E bass note. Okay, let's take a look at some of these chords on the guitar. There's the A minor 7th, the suspended 4th, and that's because we're in double drop D tuning, meaning that these two strings on the outside are tuned to D. So in this particular chord shape, that high note of D makes it a suspended 4th. Okay, then you get a D chord, and in this tuning, to make a D chord, all you need is 2 fingers, just the top 2 notes of an open D chord shape. And then you got a G up on the 5th, made like this, and then that G minor 9th, and then you also have an A, and then a G with an E bass note. That's basically one note here, the 2nd fret of the 6th string, and then open strings below that, except for the 5th string. And that's all you need for the chords. Well, I built me a raft and she's ready for floating. Oh, Mississippi, she's calling my name. Catfish are jumping, that paddle wheel thumping. Black water keep rolling on fast just the same. Go black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Go black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Keep on shining your light, gonna make everything great, and mama gonna make everything alright. And I ain't got no worries, cause I ain't in no hurry at all. Well, if it rains, I don't care, don't make no difference to me. Just take that streak, all that's going uptown. I like to hear some funky Dixieland and dance a honky tonk, and I'll be buying everybody drinks all round. Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Keep on shining your light, gonna make everything pretty, mama gonna make everything alright. And I ain't got no worries, cause I ain't in no hurry at all. Here's how the chords are played in the first section. What's happening there is I'm sliding up from the 1st fret to the 2nd fret on the 5th string, hitting it open, and then landing on that A minor 7th, hitting strings 2, 3, and 4, and then plucking strings 1, 2, and 3. So So that little slide to open sets up the chord, and then the chord is plucked like that. And then you set up the next chord with another slide. So this time you're on the 6th string and you're sliding from 2 to 3, open, and then you're landing on the D and doing the same type of pattern. So you're striking particularly the 3rd and 4th strings, and then the 2nd and 3rd strings. So that one sounds like this. So the whole piece again starts like this. When you hit that D, you can include that top string too, because these two notes are the same note. So if you want to really emphasize it, go ahead and pluck the bottom 3 strings. Okay, the thing about the beginning though is the timing. So certain parts have to go faster than others. For example, you hold that first strike of the A minor 7th a little longer. It sounds like this. So to get that timing down, it takes a lot of practice of just listening to how it sounds and trying to do it with your fingers. The second part of the song, or chorus, is a finger-picking pattern that I like to play like this. So the very first part of the arpeggio sounds like this. And I'm starting off in this shape, the G shape that I showed on that chart, but then I'm adding the note on the 3rd fret here on the 1st string. So once again it goes. And this part is played in front of "Oh black water, oh black water." The next measure sounds like this. So what I'm doing there is, instead of keeping my ring finger on that 1st string note, I've moved it up now to the 2nd string, and now I'm sliding it out to the 6th string and back to the 5th, and throwing in that arpeggiation. And finishing with that high note. So those two sections together sound like this. So the third and 4th measures, you move up to that G minor 9th and you play. So that's the Mississippi moon line. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? Go black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on? So there's a couple things to keep in mind when trying to put together this fingerstyle part. Number one, on the downbeat of everything, you're playing a bass note and a treble note together. So that's the first section, the second section. Okay, because what you're doing with your thumb is you're playing the downbeat. So you're always hitting 2 notes at once on that downbeat for the first beat. The other thing is that thumb moves in a regular pattern. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 on that bass note. And that's what you want to keep consistent throughout this finger style pattern. The other thing is realizing the melody you're trying to achieve with the high notes. If you could play that separately and kind of weave it in, then it'll make sense. It'll be like... something like that. So what you're trying to do is incorporate that melody with that bass note and the middle notes, because you're doing middle notes in between all those other notes. That's why it's kind of complicated. It takes a lot of practice to be able to put that together. The third part can be divided into two sections. A section that goes from A to the G with the E bass note, and then the next part which goes from a D to the A minor 7th. So let's look at the first part first, the A to the G with the E bass note. So what's happening there is I'm hitting an A bass note, striking the high notes of the chord, and then the bass note of the G, which is the E, hitting those high notes, and then I'm playing a little line, and that line is on the 6th string, 2 to 4, and then open, 2, and then open again on the 5th string. Okay, so it's, you go to the A, and then back to that G with the E bass note. And then the last time we go open top string, which is the D note. So that line sets up the D chord, striking those notes, and then I'm landing on the A minor 7th, and then plucking the middle notes and then the high notes. And then the next time around I go and so that little riff is open to 2 on the 5th string, to open to 2 to open again on the 4th string. So it's and then it's so right after that second time to the E minor 7th, you slide up from 2 to 4 on the A, and then the G with the E bass note again, and then you land on A to end the section, and then do this little riff. So there I'm hammering on the 2nd string, the 3rd fret, and on the 4th string, the 4th fret. So you land on the A, and then it goes back and you play the verse again. So once again, that whole section sounds like this. Just a quick note about double drop D tuning. Like I mentioned earlier, these two outside strings, rather than being E's, they were lowered a full step, so now they're D's. So this top string is a D, and what you can do is you match it up with this open D that you have. So you lower it, and obviously you want it to be an octave lower than this D, so you can lower it to match it up. And what you do with your high string is you match it to this note on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So then you have a really nice sounding D chord when your strings are open. The other way you can do it is if you use a tuner. Most modern tuners have a way you can hit like a double flat on this one in particular, and then it'll tune up that particular note for a full step lower. So that's how you tune up for double drop D tuning.